Okay, I know so many people do this kind of video, but you know, it's a great way to inspire creativity and also cement knowledge and workflow, and it's fun. Let's get started. Also, something weird happened while I was filming this. You'll know what I mean later. We got our samples over here. I like to just mess around with simpler for a little bit, just to get the juices flowing. Okay. Ooh, I like that. I want to capture that. Let's go ahead and insert a new audio track, reroute it so the output of the froggy goes in there, and I don't know if I'm going to use it or how, but I own this now. Okay, let's go ahead and loop the selection and save it. What am I going to save it as? Weird texture pad. I don't know. Okay, so me slapping the spoon against my hand gives me a really interesting kick sound. So I'm going to go ahead and do some dynamics processing on there to just make it as much of a conventional kick as I can. Squash transients with a limiter, hard compression with a slow attack to give it a very deliberate amount of punch. That's more of a slap. Let's low pass that a little bit. There we go. Let's print that as processed kick. Yeah, that's what I wrote. Okay, it's time to make some weird sounds. I'm just going to stack a bunch of stuff together to see what I can do. Just broadening my sonic palette, because a handful of little tiny little slaps is not going to be enough. I'm making some progress. Give it a little jingle bells. I'm telling you, this little box in the corner is my best friend. You will see it a lot, especially towards the end of this video. Stay tuned. Remember, kids, you always have to EQ the sample. Make sure EQ the sample. One of these samples, let's separate the left and the right channels by a few milliseconds. It's called the Haas effect. It creates width. I like it a lot. Okay, so we stacked a bunch of sounds on top of each other. If you want to like squish them together a little bit, I like to group the group together and just like smack a compressor on it. Because really we're making composite sounds that we're going to use later. So it doesn't matter. What if we just put a saturator on that sound on the bottom? Ooh, intense. Let's add a little texture with a grain delay. I use this a lot. Let's put it on one of these things. Okay. We're getting something. That saturated sound is a little bit too much right now, so let's save it for later. Random pitch knob and the grain delay gives me variety for each instance of the sounds. Let's copy it a few times and print it for later. Textured hits weird. You gotta let yourself know it's weird, you know. And that saturated sound we saved for later. Let's print that as well. Distorted kick thing. I wonder what this one sounds like. Ah! Loud! But cool. Let's save it. Scrunched texture. Alright, I think we've made enough sounds. Let's get into the actual like music making part. So this is a thing. Okay, Mr. Self-Doubt, making something shitty and then making it better is a lot more doable than making something good out of thin air, okay? So get off my back, me. So this is where I think this textured hits weird sound comes into play. I'm just gonna put it in there, add a little bit of extra space, width, and texture to the whole thing. To emphasize every little detail of this sound, let's squash it to hell, but in parallel with the dry signal using that dry wet knob. Ow! That's loud. That way the compression doesn't make the sound like claustrophobic. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. We can adjust it later. Let's move on. The classic Ode trick of duplicating the track and then messing with the pitch and stretch parameters. You might notice that there's two kick drum tracks. I did that with the kick drum too, to add a little extra high end. Okay, this metallic banging sound is getting a little annoying. I need to switch it up. Boing. Boing. Let's pitch one down just a little bit for some variety. Ooh, flat. Okay, so I took a little break and came back the next day. Okay, it's always good to name your tracks, so when I came back the next day, I had a lot more motivation, so I went and did some organization. Getting bored with drums right now, so I kept that simpler track. Let's duplicate it and make something new. So I'm trying to tune it, and I'm coming into this problem. The tuner is not registering it. Ooh, I think I know why. Granular synthesis like this is a little finicky. I'm assuming there's more subsonic info that's confusing the tuner. Yep, I was right. EQ the sample, EQ the sample. So I think I spent the next 15 minutes like handwriting some sort of chord progression. Maybe it's placeholder, maybe it's not. I'm not sure at the moment. Yeah, I'm not your pop musician. I'm your moody down-tempo guy. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and add some bass. Wait a minute, why am I putting bass in the same MIDI track? Let's go ahead and duplicate that and isolate the bass in there. That way I'll have more control. And this is where I get carried away. Ooh, nice, nice. Lower mid's a little high. Let's get rid of that. Alright, this is where I start to get a vision of what I want, trying to execute that vision and failing and getting distracted and then finding new things and overall just spending way too much time. Ooh, nice. Ooh, nice. Ooh, nice. So I went ahead and duplicated the synth again and brought it up an octave and I'm like, ooh, messing with that. Ooh, nice. Let's go ahead and rename some things so I don't get confused. That's better. And as I sit still in this chair, the clock continues to move on and on. I think I'm splitting hairs at this point. Let's go ahead and duplicate the main synth and make a different version. Distract myself, maybe for the B section. Oh! I like this. I don't see a use for it though. Sure. I took one of the samples where I hit a spoon and then I just looped the part where it resonates and I put some reverb on the end. I think that's a nice pad. I might use that later, who knows. I also made a little pluck with that same piece of audio, just switching up the ADSR. Let's tune it. Alright, let's write something for it. Who knows? Ew, gross. Ew, gross. Okay, confession. I took a break and when I came back I forgot to film, but I went and made a B section and messed with the drums a little bit. Here you go. I stacked some of the sounds of me hitting the spoon with my hand. It made it some nice claps. This Oculus Rift binaural spatializer plugin, it creates a very interesting amount of depth and it's free. I recommend you download it. I use it a lot. Okay, this kick pattern I made is getting a little bit repetitive. Let's make something else. Let's make something different. There's also a little bit of delay on the kick though. I'm a fan. I'm grooving. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this pad, but it's keeping me inspired at the moment. Alright, so these claps are pretty nice, but I think I want to add a snare. Claps are not enough. They're good at supporting something. Ooh, nice. Almost sounds video gamey at this point. Give it more of a snare-like EQ profile. Okay, I think that'll fit in nicely. Oh? Okay. It's like a... I like that. Still missing a big bit of a punchy transient at the beginning. Let's transfer some of those claps. And put one right at the front. Okay. Nope, not quite. Let's move the timing of that a little bit. It seems to be right at the beginning. Oh, I think I got it. Ooh, much better. Bonk. Alright, y'all, it's time to pull out my secret weapon. Let's record the entire drum submix onto a unique track and then fuck with it with the pitch and stretch parameters that Ableton has graciously provided us. So Ableton's going to preserve the timing of all this. All we got to do is adjust the pitching and stretching parameters until it fills the spectral holes in the mix. Makes it really weird and cool and less hollow sounding. I love doing this. See, doesn't that sound cool? And then you can mix and match all these little bits. Make Okay. We're making progress. I'm loving where this is going, but I'm remembering that this is just a supporting element of the drums, so let's not muddy things up by preserving that low end. Let's get rid of that. Let's copy this to the B section and see what Chance has to say for us. So far, this is pretty nice. I like it. I have all the elements that I want. Let's just kind of restructure things, make the B section longer, add some bass, give a different direction to the pads at the end, put the A section at the very end. We're not thinking too hard about structure. I'm making this out of a spoon. Go ahead and get rid of the kick at the end of the B section and just prepare yourself for the drop at the end. More micro adjustments to the stretched and pitched drum submix print. Let's automate some parameters in the bass. It's always good to do automation every once in a while. Make it sound a little more dynamic. So I want kind of a ride sound at the end. How am I going to do that? Or let's just take whatever sound. Let's stretch it out. Okay. It fills that space. I'm just going to add a bunch of distortion on it. And then high pass it so you just hear that white noisy part of it. And then let's just add some peaks, make it resonate. It's kind of okay. Ooh, more like a drum machine kind of ride. I like this. This works. Alright, so I added a bunch of texture sounds in the end, and when I came back the next day, something about it seemed slightly off. I had my microphone on while I was recording, and this is what happened. What if I can open up an older version of the project, actually? I'm really curious as to what actually happened. Show 3 days ago. Structured, filled out, needs singing. Let's open this one. What is happening? It's, what the, this is not the track that I made. I'm confused. No, everything's fucked up. I don't think I want to use Splice anymore. I was gonna sing on this. So yeah, unfortunately I decided that was enough. I was a little disheartened, so I wasn't going to work on it any further, but I rendered out a version before that day, so I still have what progress I did have. Have a listen to my completed song made entirely out of a spoon. So much for sticking out to the end. It really means a lot to me. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you subscribe the video. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Expect more content soon. Exact scheduling I haven't figured out yet, but you know,